Oh, you're early.
Yeah, okay.
Let's call the Wabasha Port Authority and Development Agency to order for Tuesday, November 18th. It is 5:30. We have quorum. First item on the agenda is a guest speaker, Lucas.
He is not yet here. He says he's coming at 5:30.
Well, let's just scoot
And
through.
so he was saying, I'm coming in person, so we'll just go back to him.
Yeah, we'll circle back. So next on the agenda is the
Oh, I gotta mute the site in a second. There we go. All right.
okay, consent agenda consists of October 21st Port Authority meeting minutes, our financials, Brown Intertech invoice, Earl F. Anderson invoice, Old Town Workendale facade program, disbursement, and Bowman Mink. Everybody had the opportunity to review those invoices. Any questions? Tyler is the guy to answer them.
I'll just point out that fifth grant did pay off their revolving loan.
Yeah, which is pretty huge.
Yeah,
That's nice to see. Hearing no questions about the consent agenda, entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
In a second,
I'll second.
further discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No old business, new business.
It's technically old business, but yeah.
Technically old business, I guess we're, okay. So Courtney, we got the 26 chamber contribution report.
I brought in what you guys requested at last month.
Oh, thank you.
Joel.
Is there enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
there's something.
Thank you.
Geez, that office rent is cheap.
When was the last time you increased your membership rates? Quite a while ago. Maybe you think it might be about time for that? Everything else goes up. Yeah, we've talked about it. We're redoing our membership program for this year. I wanna try to keep it as low as I can for as long as I can. And I think I can get by them where you know with all the recent rates.
I think you mentioned last time, how many members do you have now?
We're around 130.
130, yeah. That's pretty consistent year over year.
And I can't speak for everybody, but I'm a member. I have no idea how much I pay. And if you raised it, it would affect me nothing, because I think you
Good to.
join the yeah, but you join with the chamber to be part of the chamber, right? You know, I don't think too many people are gonna say, well, geez, if the fees were $15 less or $25 less, I join.
Right.
Yeah.
But you make the choice to join.
Exactly.
That's kind of.
Just looking for an excuse now.
So I think one of the things we had were on our minds was what festivals you're gonna do for next year, for 26.
Grumpy Old Men, Riverboat Days. The Miss Wabasha program, Septoberfest, the board is still discussing that, and we'll be continuing to discuss it on Thursday.
You know, that's a big deal for some of us here,
I think it's a big deal for me.
for me.
I think Septoberfest has to go part of the
Someone's phone ringing?
It sounds like it.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
I'm like, I thought it was mine, and I'm like. this
You
is
can
not-
catch it, go ahead.
It's enforcement.
There you go.
Probably jump.
So I don't know, what are our thoughts? I mean. Where are we at with this?
Well, when I think about how important Septoberfest is, it's because I sit in my office and I watch so many people walking up and down the sidewalk that would not normally be there. I know that they're going in the restaurants. When I put on my Eagle Board member hat, I know we're capturing a lot of the business from those people. And I think it's really an important thing because we talked a little bit before, like what brings people to Wabasha between riverboat outsiders, boating season's over. And what brings them until Grumpy Mendes? Not much. So I think it's really vital, and I don't wanna be like, well, we'll fund you if you're holding it, but I mean, that's kind of why we didn't vote last time.
I know it's purely anecdotal, right? I mean, we talked about this last time, but, I really believe Septoberfest extends our season by that 4-6 weeks kind of thing. And so what I always thought was so wonderful, I was in business here and relied on tourism. And in the, excuse me, early days, it was. After October, you did 25% of what you did in October, just that simple. And you had to wait till April, May to do anything, so when the Eagle Center started doing SOAR and when the Septoberfest kicked in, it was like it just tightened that off season so much more, and it was so much nicer. And for me, I live on Main Street, the amount of people I see walking up and down Main Street during Septoberfest is incredible. It's an extension of. the
Well,
season.
and we do all that decorating because of Septoberfest, it's pretty, I mean, it's nice, it makes us have that,
Welcome to.
yeah, exactly.
And I know we're all influenced by the circle of people that we stay in contact with, or that we relate to, but, out of all of these, that's the one that people comment to me about
Same,
outside of the city.
I get a lot of comments, is it going away, is it going away, I'm like, I don't know, but I certainly can ask and speak up.
When you gave that last packet out last meeting, you showed all that data that you generated from credit cards and what did that show? I can't remember what that showed for the effect of Septoberfest.
It's been on a downhill slide since 2019.
So realistically, the financial input to the city is decreasing. Or to the community is going down. That's
The
what you're
amount
saying.
of visitors that are coming into Wabasha at that time period has been decreasing.
But you're talking about the years that the street was all tore up too, right?
I'm going all the way back to 2019.
Well, COVID, so it was COVID and then the streets tore up, so I don't know how effective those numbers are.
I go all the way back to pre-COVID to 2019.
But you said that's when it started to go down.
Yep.
Because then 20 was COVID, and 21 was still kind of waking up, and then 23 and 24 or whatever, we had streets tore up.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to keep an eye on that because, I mean, if it's continuing
Right.
going down, then stop bringing, if it's not really bringing anything into town, why do we want?
Well, I would tell you from the Eagle Board, I can tell you, we definitely have good traffic in the fall because of Septoberfest.
But you may anyways.
Maybe, it's a long way to drive over to just go to the Eagle Center, but if you can walk up and down the streets and see all the stuff and, I don't know, shop at the little, whatever they have going on. Didn't you guys even do a pickleball tournament during Oktoberfest? Because I heard Septoberfest, because I felt like I sponsored.
sponsored it.
We did.
Yeah, so, I mean, did you have good people there? Turnout?
Pretty good turnout, but
I mean, those people still, they go eat, I mean, they don't just get back in their car and go home,
most of them did. I was there
but how do you know where they went?
because they said they.
Well, I think,
I know the Russian couple is downtown. 'cause
Yeah,
they're
they-
starting.
I think that. You had, okay, 100 people come to town, you're not gonna capture 100,
Right,
but out of that 100 that weren't here before, you're gonna capture 25, and that's the whole goal of this thing, right? It's nebulous. I'll say this, like Grumpy Old Men Festival. Having been a part of the original ones, the original one going forward. And how I saw it die on the vine and how now it's become more popular again. So I think if there's effort made,
Bingo.
and the same holds true for Riverboat Days. I remember having to cover for it, and because it was that packed all night long, we actually had to stand by down there.
Oh,
And,
gosh.
I
Back
mean,
in the day, it was
It
a
was
big.
crazy, so, but yet we still do it, so I.
It does ebb and flow based on effort.
Oh, it's
Yeah, right.
definitely way, way less of a big deal in town than it was back in the day.
What data are you using to say it's going downhill?
Glacier AI,
Or
Looks like the
Glacier
software.
AI. It's AI software that tracks everybody that is in the town.
I did actually look at lodging tax trends as well by month, and I sent those to Courtney for the chamber to look at. And that shows that September is like the biggest month of the year for lodging tax. But it's not able to say like Placer is that what is exactly bringing people to town in September. But the data did show that like, this is the trend line here for lodging tax collection. And there was a dip in 2024 during the street project, and it was starting, that is 2025, kind of going back up.
Yeah.
A huge dip, obviously, in lodging tax during COVID for all across the board. And then you could see like Grumpy kind of a dip, spike kind of, it's not directly correlated. But I will just say like September is a big month for lodging tax. Like, so October it averages in the 7,000, and September we're, anywhere from $6,000 to over $13,000 in lodging tax. So we know that people come during that time. And I thought the overall good news is it looks like we're finally kind of recovering from COVID. So I took a look at that, and I said on average, September was $5,000 for lodging tax. August is about $5,000 for lodging tax, July $4,700, October $4,500. But I didn't look at every month of the year,
Sure.
just looked at like February, when the festivals
But
took
when
place.
September and October are comparable to July and August.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
the
is,
river
yeah.
brings people in
For
July and
lodging
August,
tax.
right?
Mhm.
But what is gonna bring people here if we don't have Septoberfest going on in September and October?
Yeah,
I think it's just nice to have these tools though, so we can at least make informed decisions on this going forward,
Of
what
course.
I mean, cause, look at
that
the data.
data's amazing,
You have data.
It really
you can
is.
Just be smart about it.
and this data is amazing.
But I will say, I think what Placer showed me is that when efforts are put into festival, you can see more people are now coming for Grumpy Old Men than historically, because effort has been made to make it a success.
And that's the
Yeah.
problem that we have is. Yeah, resources and manpower to do 3 big festivals.
Yeah, that's, was gonna be my question, is your volunteer group still pretty intact?
For the most part.
Yeah.
We're always looking for more volunteers,
Yeah.
especially for how some of this stuff is going.
So Septoberfest hasn't always been a chamber related event, has it? Wasn't there just a Septoberfest committee like back in the days of Carolyn Barton or Carolyn, whatever her?
Carolyn,
was?
Mhm.
Yeah, didn't they just have a committee of people that did it?
I think so.
It was a part of,
It was all
chamber, they were part of the
It
chamber.
was, okay,
Yeah.
I just
It was
felt
like a
like,
committee.
but it felt like they were the ones that.
Carolyn
Yeah.
is the main move.
Yes, she was.
Well, it was her idea, wasn't it? I mean, it kind of.
Well, yeah, she owned a
I mean,
hotel, come
yeah,
on, she's smart.
It
She's like,
was
it's this
brilliant.
great business decision. And it obviously worked.
Yeah.
Because it made her hotel very successful, it
Yeah.
brought a lot of people. And I think that is what we're missing, is the lack of effort going into it, fewer weekends that there's events and all that, and easy for me to say, because I'm not the one that has to get the committee together. But maybe that's where our focus should be, instead of just thinking about taking it off the map.
In order to do that, I would suggest that you bring in twice as many people as they got now. And you would have to increase the budget by double.
So are you saying it's costing money? It's costing us money?
Lots of money. to the point where if we keep taking the same track we had done with Oktoberfest, Chamber will blow through all of its operating money within 2.5 years.
Well, it's time to reinvent Septoberfest, I guess.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, I don't. I don't know if any of us are convinced.
I guess on the operating budget question, I think going to your 2026 budget here. I mean, you're showing kind of a break even there,
Yep,
so.
that would be a break even, not including staff labor costs.
So if staff aren't working on this event, what revenue generating events would they be working on instead? I mean,
If we were not working on Oktoberfest.
yeah,
It would be the, other 3 projects and day-to-day operations.
okay, I just don't, I guess if you take out staff labor, I mean, that's. I'm not. Seeing where the hole is that you're describing. You know,
Or you mean,
Where the big expenses are that it's draining. No,
if you want, I've got my full report right here that the board will be seeing on Thursday. I don't know if you guys wanna get around and look at it. We can go through everything Oktoberfest if you want to.
I mean, you could maybe just hit the highlights,
The highlights.
yeah.
I think the main thing, the drain on the budget is including your labor costs.
So. Oktoberfest this year. Wasn't. It didn't bring in the amount of people that. We had more people in town for Labor Day. Of course, Riverboat Days, oddball weekends here and there through the summer. You know, so I mean, it's not, you have to look at the cost versus reward on it. And the amount of people that Oktoberfest is bringing in. It's not worth what we're losing per year.
But that's not what the lodging tax is showing, so that's what I don't understand. Cause she showed that those 2 months, September and October, we had a lot
Or
of,
on par with July and August.
yeah,
But we don't know if,
But we don't know what it
We
would
don't
be
know what
without
those-
Septoberfest either.
right, because we don't have any data pre-Oktoberfest. Because that would be like 20 years ago. So when we look at. When we look at the amount of people that are coming in during the Oktoberfest days. We don't know if they're here for Oktoberfest, we don't know if they're here on vacation, we don't know if they're here using the river, we don't know if they're here to kick off duck hunting season. We don't know any of that.
we good data to get from our VRBO owners.
And the VRBO, the short-term rental owners that I have talked to. Probably 1 in 4 people that book their room, they're not here for Oktoberfest.
1 in 4 are not here for Oktoberfest.
They are here for duck hunting, they are here for fall colors.
There's still 75% of the bookings are for Septoberfest.
I mean, I know there's I see a lot of like girls trips, like groups of women that come. And they're attracted because it's like festive, you know, like it's like, kinda like going to some of these other quaint little cute places, you know,
Yeah.
Door County, whatever, it's like. Because you make, like, I think Dave hit the nail on the head, you make it welcoming.
I agree, but at what cost do you put the chamber in to do that?
Wasn't it the chamber's job to promote
The
the
city.
businesses that,
Absolutely.
you know, so I mean, if it. Then it would be incumbent upon the chamber as an organization to make that successful.
Or put an end to it if it's not working.
I just don't see that, I don't see where it's not working, in my take, you know. But
Here's the full report. You can go
what
through
would be
it.
nice is if we could, I know you don't want us to take this home and review it. but that would be nice.
I mean, what if just the decorations were put up and they didn't do any of the events? I mean, because to me, the decorations are what makes the town look
Yeah.
cool.
Well, what are the events? There's not that many events anymore.
So here's the thing, when you look at data on Glacier, the decorations don't bring in people.
I think so,
I think they do.
yeah.
According to our Glacier numbers and our data, we don't bring in people.
How do you judge
I
that?
don't know.
That's what when people are
Otherwise,
remarking about the Oktoberfest, they're talking about corn stalks and
I
pumpkins.
like the difference.
That's what they're talking.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Oktoberfest. Because I love taking my grandkids to it. But when I pull the emotional value out of that and look at the hard data, the hard facts, the hard numbers. It's a dying festival.
Well, Courtney, I think, just to, I'm just gonna speak up, I think I kind of wanna go back to what we talked about as well, which is Grumpy Old Men would have been a dying festival according to these same numbers and should have been killed off years ago. And that's what we go to kind of level of effort, and I think what he and I have discussed is, can the chamber, or there's limited staff capacity, do they have capacity to make 3 successful? But I also kind of think the decorating is sort of like an easy win, in my opinion. Except for the coordination was a challenge.
Well, so here's the thing, the other 2 festivals, we had a bunch of people come together to make that successful. We've been trying to rebuild Oktoberfest for the last 2 years. We took and we shrunk it down, so it was manageable for
Mhm.
4 weeks. We tried getting new volunteers in this year, and we still had a big loss.
Can I ask you, what did you do to try to get the volunteers? I mean, I was never approached to volunteer.
We begged and begged and begged the committee for 6 weeks straight to get new volunteers in.
You begged the committee that's currently working on it?
The community,
I didn't know anything about it.
Me either.
you know,
I mean, and I get it, I live a bit of a cloistered life, but.
we had,
But I did not know
we
anything.
had everything went out in our on our email list. Everything went out in our monthly newsletters, multiple Facebook posts and social media requests, and I mean, we put it out there as much as we possibly could in the community.
On the cost loss for the festival, kind of where what I'm looking at it is. It basically broke even this year, but for the labor costs and the time into it, and so where I'm thinking is. It's almost a decision then, is the executives, directors' best efforts put into undertaking other activities, or in continuing to invest in the festival? Versus, the numbers that I'm seeing here weren't that the festival itself basically broke even. I think it was maybe profitable in the past, I don't know.
I think
Profitable for businesses, for sure.
I think if you had a 100% volunteer committee, I think you could break even on it.
So what does, I'm not trying to be difficult, I just really don't know, what does the staff do that's staff hours? Do you go out and decorate it? Are you guys putting up the corn stalks and all that?
No, so we take care of, so like the day-to-day stuff is we take and, do things like all the permitting. Keeping track of all of the, vendors that come in for the vendor market. We're running the meetings, keeping track of financial stuff. You know, analyzing our data, doing the social media stuff, everything that's in the background that nobody ever sees.
It definitely needs an office to manage it. I can't imagine it just being
Right,
volunteers with no
Right.
way to pay vendors and stuff.
right, no, there has to be an office, but, so, those people, like, who is the staff? You are the staff? And Jane is the staff?
Correct.
So if you're in the office anyway, and it's not Oktoberfest, and you're not holding meetings for this, are you already starting to work on Grumpy Old Men Days?
Yeah, I'm 2 months.
So you want that much more time to do that?
Yep, cause I'm already 2 months behind on Grumpy now.
There's another issue, maybe the fact that, Grumpy Old Man Days and Riverboat Days are basically weekend festivals, whereas you're trying to make this one go, what, 2 months? Maybe you could restructure Oktoberfest to have all the, decorations up over that whole time, but just have one big weekend for Septemberfest with
It
all the
is-
They
events.
kind of
Two
did,
big
they did
weekends. Yeah,
cut it down this year, yeah, a couple, but it used to be every weekend, right? So they
Yeah.
cut it down a lot,
It is just 2 weekends and
yeah.
I helped and it was a lot, but, yeah, I don't know, I think the question is it? From what I can tell, even with the additional rent, which was a surprise, with our donation and all that, like I said, in the contributions, it was kind of a break even activity, but for his time and labor, and so that's the question.
But break even for the chamber, but
Mhm.
profitable for the businesses, for those people
yeah.
that did come
Oh,
to
yeah.
town. So you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
look at the whole picture. And to
Mhm.
John's point, the chamber is here to build up businesses and,
So was it a success for businesses?
right,
Yeah,
yeah, that's who I think we need to be getting numbers from before we decide to cut it out.
I know
But
the
all
national.
the businesses that we go to do that, they're not gonna have pre-Septemberfest numbers. And you.
But they still get a good feel if they get a good crowd from Septoberfest. You know, I can tell you, if you go
Yeah.
down to the old triangle and you ask Jake if he talks to people when they come in,
Oh, absolutely.
what they come to town for. And the same thing, the volunteers ask at the Eagle Center, and a lot of people are here for Septoberfest and they come to the Eagle Center. So it definitely is, if you're looking at the whole picture, it's definitely profitable for the city as a whole, when I'm breaking it down to your business and your business and your business and your business, maybe not to the chamber.
The other people that started it were the American Inn, so from what I can tell and what they're paying out in lodging tax, I think I broke it down just by American Inn numbers. It's a profitable. But as he pointed out, we don't know how many people coming in American Inn are here for Septoberfest or something else.
Right, but
Yeah.
she's the one who started it.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, for 3 years, I think the bicycle club put up,
Yeah,
they
big-
just dropped it by the telephone pole or the light poles. And then we were the ones that strung all that.
Yeah,
Stuff
so
up.
that,
and I know the Lions have been helping, right, putting that stuff up,
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
so I don't know, I think she got some local farmers to, I don't know if they donated the corn stalks or that she paid them for it, but they were there
Yeah,
whenever you wanted them, they're right there, and there's plenty of.
Those are all purchased by us.
How much does that cost, Not often.
Quite a bit, I don't.
oh, for sure. Well, maybe go back to being friends with the people that were doing it in the first place.
so in September. American Inn collected $5,500 in lodging tax. And like. In 2020, middle of COVID, 4,000, 2019, 5,500. So the blue is Septoberfest. Or no, the blue is September, it's not fair to say it's a Septoberfest, but the blue is the lodging tax line for September.
The high.
August was a busy month and there were absolutely no events, so that's why I was like,
So there's a
all we
river.
can say is August and September are busy months, not necessarily say it's due to an event.
But the
So,
river is packed in August, the river
Yeah.
is not packed in September.
That's true, yeah. Mhm.
So about $3,500 in corn stalks, hay bales and pumpkins.
Okay, so they used to ask the vendors if they wanted to buy some of the hay bales, so I remember. We paid for hay bales for a number of years.
Yeah, we could
Still do that?
Sure, too.
All right. Sorry.
do we have enough information? We want more information. Here's the thing. We're not. This board is not. We don't need to make a decision.
Well, they have a board meeting Thursday where they're going to make a decision about the future of Septoberfest, is that correct?
We're gonna continue talking about it, and that's up to the board if they're gonna make a decision or not.
Cause I mean, we're not, it's already off of the budget for city council.
Mhm.
So now it's not that we agree that we're gonna fund chamber. So how we determine we're gonna fund that, we don't need to make that decision tonight, we could wait until we hear their position.
Right, And at best, I don't think it's fair that you're putting on here that you're asking for 3,500 for Septoberfest, and you're not even sure you're gonna have it.
So here's my thought on the $15,000 donation. If Septoberfest didn't happen, what I would do is I'd put it out to other organizations or groups of people within Waukesha that would take it over. If they picked up on that and they wanted to run with it, then that $3,500 will go with that festival to the new
Okay.
people instead of cash.
You know what, I'd say, I'd put the 15,000 to Septoberfest. Deal with the rest of them however you wish, because you're telling me that Grumpy Old Men Days is successful.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, Septoberfest, you don't have, there's not a lot of. Profit centers there for the chamber, as compared to the others.
Right.
And
So-
we've seen Grumpy Old Men Days just blow up since you've been here. You're obviously really passionate about that, you're pouring a lot into it, and we're seeing the results.
Well, I'm passionate about everything. With all three festivals.
I don't think that's, I don't
So
believe that.
here's the problem that I have, is I don't have the resources to do three.
So you need more volunteers.
I need a lot more volunteers to go off and do a project like Septoberfest again. I mean, we're running, what, 25, 30 volunteers right now, and in order to rebuild Septoberfest, you're looking at 60.
Well, I think we gotta find them. I think that it's gonna be really detrimental
many-
to our city.
How many people
And
does
you
it
gotta
take to run Grumpy Old Men Festival and Riverboat Days? Do you know, like, your volunteer roster for those two?
Right now for Grumpy Old Men, there's probably 4 or 5 of us. And then, we bring in additional groups and stuff throughout Waukesha to help out with the day of.
How many people are volunteering the day of?
Probably
Well, that's
about 30,
huge.
35.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting the sports teams.
Yeah, more than 30
Yeah.
or 35. There's 20 volunteering just at that ice hockey thing that you have, that
Yeah.
Budweiser thing that you have. So there's probably 60 volunteers there.
But those are, those are day of kind of.
I know, I get it,
Yeah, yeah.
but how do they get there? People
Yeah.
ask them.
No, because we offer them their tip money to be there.
There's an awful lot of money spent on storage rent. What are you storing for Septoberfest?
All the displays.
What displays in that?
All the-
displays that are put out throughout town.
We kicked them out of the Translander building for the new apartment. That's a bad terminology. Safe space. We did, so that's where partially, if it's because they're now paying 9,600 in rent, that's where I feel like the port should be stepping up
Right.
to support at
Right.
least the storage rent part.
Because even if you got
Because-
volunteers, where are they gonna store
You
that
know,
stuff?
it was never our
Is that what
intention
barn?
to say, let's end Septoberfest when we asked you guys to go find the
Yeah, that's
things.
a story.
So-
In an open barn, it's a barn.
Yeah, the one back there was restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether even Corner would even wanna charge you for that.
Yeah, they're paying
I
that
can't
much.
believe that $9,600.
Well, no, you're not getting this.
Wow.
They went through and put in garage doors and sealed everything up.
Yeah, it looked, I was just out there the other day. It looked too bad. Better.
The whole
But-
Skelly station's for rent for 4,500 a month.
The tenants are online, shop owner, the landlords are online, so.
Here's. Where do we wanna go with this? I think Courtney's kind of played his case. I know it's still vague about what we're gonna do, what they're gonna do with Septoberfest.
Do we wanna make a recommendation that we continue Septoberfest? If nothing else, we continue the decorating.
And use the 3,500 to suit that event, or it isn't gonna cost 3,500?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm concerned about the storage costs for whatever
Well,
organization takes it on, it's
It's all
9,600 a year.
Yeah, how much storage space would you need if you didn't have Septoberfest with all that display?
No,
You wouldn't have that, I mean, you still have to have a place for
You can
We're
go
giving them
forward.
free storage at City Hall.
It's the.
no.
It's not.
Free storage for what?
Grumpy Old Men, Chamber stuff, Riverboat Days.
But they just can't store the Septoberfest stuff there?
$100 a month.
They just chose not to, I don't know.
They said there's not already here.
What?
That normal. No,
So what would you do with, you're talking about like wooden signs that say Septoberfest
Yeah.
and stuff like that?
All the displays.
So what would you do with that stuff if you stopped Septoberfest? You just trash it all?
No, I look for a different organization to take over.
But who's gonna be able to store that? It's one thing to get volunteers to do all this stuff. But I think, to your point, John, that maybe we need to step it up and pay for the storage and insist on more energy going into it.
Or look for a partner,
Yeah,
look for a partner. We'll give you the naming rights.
I just don't know what's in it for anybody else. So what's in it for the chamber is you're doing something for all the businesses. You're bringing business to town. That's what a chamber is.
Yep.
What's in it for the Lions Club or in it for the other people? It's not a money-making weekend.
No,
I mean, they can volunteer, but
I guess it could be if they did, a beer tent on the first Saturday of,
yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
It could very well be. It could very well be a moneymaker if it was volunteer run and if they did events that had some type of income on it.
We're kind of in a weird position here, man. We don't wanna micromanage the chamber, it's not our job, right? But we have to invest in economic development and the support of that, of Wabasha in that fashion. And I respect your data, but I also see kind of the data is subjective. If you look at other bits of that data. And I think you've got some great attitudes up here about Septoberfest as an example. But I think what you've done with Grumpy Old Men Festival is fantastic. I mean, it
Amazing.
was dead.
Yeah,
So, I mean, there you go. Riverboat Days still kind of lacks what it used to be. I don't know if I'll ever get that back, but
No, and that's one thing too that we look at when we noticed in our numbers that the chamber's not big enough to do those 3 festivals, so we have to look at all 3 festivals. So we look at Riverboat Days, which we have to do because that is the city festival. So then, if you take that out of the equation, then we look at Grumpy Old Men and Septoberfest. The amount of money that Grumpy Old Men brings into town, not only for the businesses and the chamber and all the organizations that come and help versus Septoberfest. We have to look at it that way where, the chamber's gotta live within its means. And if we don't have the resources to do 3 giant festivals, then one's gonna have to go. So we look at all 3 of them and say, okay, who's not holding their weight when it comes to this?
I appreciate that. But, here's Grumpy Old Men Festival. And here is Septoberfest. So if someone owns a front door on Main Street, this looks way better than this.
But so here's
You know what
the
I'm
thing, is when we look at that data, I can't guarantee you that all those people are coming here for Septoberfest.
No,
You can't, but
When you see the numbers at Grumpy.
but Grumpy Old Men doesn't do anybody any good for one day.
right. You're not
Right.
bringing people into businesses, maybe to the bar for a few drinks or a dinner, but it's one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cost of gearing up for one day as an old business owner, a bar business owner, is not worth it. But knowing that I'm gonna have increased traffic for 6 weeks. Then I cut a deal with that server that's gonna go to school, come back or something like that, it's a
Yeah.
better deal. So yeah, that's kind of where I look at it.
But I can tell you right now that the chamber is not big enough to do 3 festivals. Because when we hit Riverboat Days, Friday when we started. You know what our bank account was at?
Yeah,
So you need
Because-
money, we hear that.
Because we were trying to do two festivals at the same time because Riverboat Days and Oktoberfest are back to back. Literally back to back. Like, we didn't even have Riverboat Days closed out before Oktoberfest started
Riverboat Days is in July,
in July.
so August, September.
Yeah, I'm mostly interested in the decorations, because that's what I hear from people that I see. Is they like the way the town looks, I think the town looks good.
Yeah, but the decorations are the expense because storing the stuff, I mean, I don't,
And the other thing too that we have an issue with is the minute those decorations go up, everybody wants to know what's going on for activities, the minute that those decorations go up.
yeah. Well,
And when you
We gotta
look at
wrap it
the
up.
data on Glacier, the decorations don't show any traffic, but those activity weekends do.
here's my proposal. We table this. Have your meeting. Give us some data in advance so we can ingest it. And then let's reconvene next month.
Yeah.
Okay,
mhm.
cause I don't think you want our decision right now. Okay,
So when you guys are thinking about this, the reason why I have it broke down like I do, because it's fair to all volunteers through the entire chamber. That's why I've got it broke down, you know, for Riverboat Days, Grumpy Old Ben and all that kind of stuff, because it's, if we take and pull the full $15,000 and put it directly towards Oktoberfest, which would be nice, but then my volunteers have to make up that additional money that they're losing out on from your guys' donation. So I am trying to be as fair as I can to all the volunteers that have put these festivals together.
One thing that I could see is that $3,500 for that Queens thing could go away. I mean, I think it's so ridiculous when I see that you have 3 girls running. Or 4 girls running, I mean, when I was Riverboat Days Queen, it was a big deal, there were probably 20 candidates, I'm just.
Well, and that's
It was a big deal back in the day,
That's
but
what we're
it's a
trying to
joke now.
do for 2026.
But the thing is you're not gonna change it, that's just a way, that's just a whole new thing, it's like. Little girls used to grow up and wanna be cheerleaders, and now they're like, I wanna run the, you know what I mean, it's just different, it's just
like, why
different.
don't you have to be a cheerleader? I can be on social media.
Exactly, or I can, yeah, start my own company, be an entrepreneur.
Well, and that's the thing that we're looking at too, is we're not looking at specifically just the Queens, we're trying to get. The entire teenage demographic from Wabasha to come in on this. You know, even if they're not running,
Teach them how to volunteer.
that's exactly what we're trying to do, and that's why we're trying to build this program up. Is to get that, because we're missing that, there's a great big. Chunk of demographic that we're missing when it comes to Wabasha, not only volunteering, but just engagement in general. And that's that teenage era, and what we're trying to do with that, program is we're trying to get those kids to come out, volunteer. If it's something that you're interested in, if you wanna go and be an auto mechanic, come volunteer for the chamber for 20 hours. We'll do a scholarship for you. You know, something like that, it's not 100% dedicated to the Queens. It's teens in general.
But I mean, if you wanna talk about something that's fallen off the cliff,
Oh, big
that's the first thing.
I agree.
One of my
And now,
members, her daughter's in it, and literally she wins every time because there's nobody else in it.
and now that we've got.
3 spots.
1 of 3 spots, maybe all 3.
Start rebuilding it.
And then you gotta get all these breaks on top.
Alright, just one more clarification, so it's itemized 3,500 under Oktoberfest, but on the other ones, are we encapsulated in one of these other categories? Cause I didn't see city.
Yeah, it'd be the general sponsorship. So, cause what I did is, so like the budget for Riverboat Days I put your guys' $3,500 in the fundraising and sponsorship. That's what we're going to.
Yeah, hold on.
It'd be the same way with Grump Wheelman and, stuff like that. Septoberfest is a celebrating the Septoberfest, or, no, I'm sorry, it's not.
So how come you don't do a beer garden during Septoberfest?
Not a big enough event.
Well, they used to,
Big gather.
They used to.
yeah, they used to.
We tried it a couple of years ago and it failed pretty bad. Because we didn't have the manpower to do it. And in order to do a beer garden, then you have to bring in a pretty decent sized act. So in order to do a beer garden, you would have to look at spending probably about $8,000 or so. Just to try to get people in for a crowd to spend money on that beer tent.
And I think you mentioned if you get bad weather or something, you could lose money.
Oh, absolutely. And with these festivals, if we have one bad year, we're gonna have to pull money out of our reserves to cover it.
One feedback I get is it's kind of Septoberfest is the one festival where there isn't like a beer sale thing and it's maybe focused on
Yeah, the
fun without
Funville or
alcohol
whatever.
or whatever, but
It's more family
Not
oriented.
easy.
Yeah.
Well, you can have daytime beer gardens. They do it at Grumpy Old Men.
So the other thing too that we look at for a beer garden for Septoberfest, we don't have enough people that come to Wabasha where we can take away from those bars and restaurants and stuff like that. When we have 10, 12, 15,000 people come in for a festival, then we have that opportunity
Why can't the local bars be the beer garden? Why can't they do that?
because we have so many people in town that they can't handle that amount of people going through their business.
I'm talking about during Septoberfest.
Oh, absolutely. That's why we don't have a beer garden.
Okay, well, we can't take the whole meeting.
So should we move the table?
Yeah.
We have a motion to table for some next,
So moved.
a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
No, same sign. As much information in advance as possible.
Yep.
Thank you, Courtney.
well, I think the informative part would be, do you want these back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are on the one bit.
Yeah. I'm doing my own festival this year. You want it all, I know, Christmas tree lighting. Yeah,
I got a thing about that.
I have, I hired the Chubbs, they're coming to play. Heather's gonna have her little bar out there. Urban Arrow's having a little, outdoor market.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of activities for the kids. I just put a few people together. It's gonna be good.
What about the top of the snow?
So-
Where are the sub?
Let's circle back, Lucas.
Lucas, do you mind
I
speaking
need to sit
in
in.
in front of this? Let me ask the people online, if he could either speak in front of the owl or at the microphone. Is that microphone on? Can you just lift it up? And just tap it? No?
No.
I don't know how to
That's the
tap
reason.
on.
They said when you spoke, well,
You know what? Why don't you just come sit up?
yeah, at one of the tables.
You're there, I can work this up. if you guys want.
Or speak into the owl, because Chuck online is hard
Are
of
these
hearing.
microphones work?
This little owl,
You're confusing for us.
yeah.
Okay.
They just wanna be able to
Speak
hear you
loudly into this
online.
thing. Okay.
All right. Chuck and Sean, can you hear us clearly?
You say something, John?
Yeah, can you guys hear us?
Most of you, but I see microphones flaying all over the place on that table. So gotta remember, you gotta remember that I don't think Sean has a problem, but I do, and I've got my hearing aids on plus my volume up 100%. So and that distorts things too.
So
Yeah.
why don't you try, test it, see if you can hear you.
And can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Excellent.
so what we've done is we've asked Lucas to sit at the table with us so that we get a little clearer voice to everybody that's out there, which I assume is Sean and Chuck.
That's not me, so. Okay,
All right.
that video stabilized, was wobbling a little.
Okay, Alan?
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
All right.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Our hope, Caroline, is that we are gonna hear a little bit about where you're at with our permitting process. Is that sound about right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Take it.
So, yeah, Carolyn has, I think, been, communicating along updates and, I feel bad because I feel like most of the updates she's probably had to provide is that our process, is taking quite a long time. The permit application for the barge, port facility, was submitted, December 19th, of last year, so we are quickly approaching, 1 year. We do have a goal of trying to have permit decisions within 150 days. The biggest holdup with all of this is really tied back to mitigation. By and large, Minnesota DNR has, right within our, public water rules, requirements for mitigation when there are impacts. I've been with the department for over 18 years. I've been involved in only a couple of projects that have had mitigation. It is just not something that we generally do because we try to work so much on the front end to not have impacts that require mitigation. Now, the reality is, a barge facility, like this, barge unloading facility comes with impacts. And the alternatives analysis that was done really did a good job in the end to help identify and choose the best site that has the least amount of impacts. Both, especially focused from our end on the Mississippi River, but also I think to the community. And so, the selection of the site, certainly, does help meet that, but there are still impacts that need to be mitigated. And so we've, worked through, and I think we have, working with Carolyn, have identified, a good path forward. The issue is that at this point, that took so long, and now we're in the phase of getting all that documented and having the internal conversations to, get that to the point where it can be finalized in the permit decision. And so that has, been my focus when it comes to this particular permit. However, this fall has been awfully busy, and so there have been, some other delays that have impacted that as well. So that's kind of the update, little background on it.
Can I ask, what are the impacts that are taking the longest?
So the impacts are, dredging of an area
Yeah.
for the barge to be fleeted where it's going to be parked at the dock. There are impacts from the square footage of the actual dock itself. That is probably the easiest, is the dock itself. The fleeting area, there are.
I think they're planning on 2 barges.
Correct, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a smaller, area, especially, we're much more familiar with fleeting areas, either up at Red Wing or, down at Winona, where there are multiple, multiples, of barges, fleeted, so that's a lesser issue. The expanse of area for entering and exiting of the facility is the impact that is really more of the difficult thing, just because of the size. And that's even, I think, the bare minimum is how it was designed for meeting the needs.
Yeah, it's just a little hard to understand. It's a relatively small area compared, they dredge the whole Mississippi River. And so you're looking at a very small area that they're gonna be dredging, but it's taking this long.
I think, weren't we at like 6 acres of impact?
Yes.
So we got 6 acres of impact. That's the number. Right?
Yep, and so a little bit about the Minnesota rules for public water impacts are not like, the Wetland Conservation Act requires mitigation for any impacts to wetlands. And that program is very, very clear that it is, for this type of impact, a 2-to-1 ratio. If you impact 1/10 of an acre, mitigation is double that, 2/10. Public water impacts are not that. And so that's where we, as an agency, need to create an assessment of the value in order to mitigate that.
So subjective.
It's much more subjective. And so that's where, if it was as simple as a 2-to-1, that would have been, quite a bit more, straightforward.
So
Also within, internal conversations at DNR of, is this mitigation acceptable? Because it is somewhat subjective.
so we have, go ahead, Carol.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think there was some frustration on our part that we were required to do mitigation at all. It seemed like it could have been subjectively interpreted that we had a single project without an impact, but I think we moved past that. We accepted that you were gonna say there's. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, we've all accepted that, right? I mean, okay, so we've done that part. So you've got. When you talk about, so we're disturbing 6 acres, essentially, right?
Mhm.
Is that included? Does the mussel removal, management, whatever, is that a part of that, or is that in addition to?
And so there are, 2 parallel programs within DNR. Mussel impacts are managed through our threatened and endangered species program. And so they could very much be handled separately. What we have sought to do is determine if there's an opportunity where mitigation can satisfy both public water impacts as well as mussel impacts. Administratively, that's actually proven to be a little bit harder, and it has caused time delays because it's not something that we do often. So mussel impact mitigation, that is much less subjective, especially if, relocation is done or not done. There are ways to calculate the economic impact for.
We've got a.
Were there any threatened in?
Yeah, there is.
There were muskets.
Yeah. 431.
Are there any Higgins eyes in there?
I don't believe there was Haganai, but there was muckets, for sure.
So,
And that's where we agreed verbally, at least, on the Reed's Landing cut, which would mitigate the mussel impact and the public water. That's still the case. That'll both get included, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
so what? Okay, here's my world, right? That's the planning commission, board authority, city council, right?
Mhm.
We get a request put in. You know, we've got a certain number of days, we've gotta get it covered. You know, and if not, then essentially they can do it on their own. So we submitted our EAW 2 years ago. It took a year for that to get straightened out. Now we're here, that got settled, now we're here and it's taking another year. You're looking at a little community, you're well aware of this, 2,500 people, and I know I'm going after the messenger or not. But we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars extra on this deal. And because it's been delayed, our build costs have gone up exponentially for us as a city, as well as for our operator. And we're pissing off our customer, the Army Corps. This isn't gonna work anymore. We've gotta figure out how to get this done quick. And I think, I mean, you've got all the data. And as a group, we are like, okay, we're not like saying, no, we're not moving muscles or anything. We accept that we need to do these things. You just we need to be told what to do. Right?
When given the approval to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do it. We're there, you know, and we have to be. This could be a black swan event for this city, for this port authority, if this doesn't get done.
Mhm.
And we have been led down the path that this is something that we can do. You know, by the DNR. Lucas, it's not you, you know what I mean? We need to take this back. And if it's a meeting with you and your superiors, we're all in, you know, we'll do this. It just has to be taken care of. We've delayed yet another year to at least start to clear trees. We could have moved mussels.
Yeah, we missed the muscle.
You know, we could have done that in the most appropriate way, the most environmentally acceptable way possible. We could have done that. We even talked about, well, do we just pay the fine and dig them? That's what we're at. We don't want to do that.
Keep that on the table, we don't want to, but.
We want to do this right. We want to do it. So,
Work together.
yeah, so the community finds this acceptable, you know? And we got a partner here that says, yeah, we'll dredge that. We'll make that work. We just need your help in this. And you said it's 150 days, is what you shoot for. Well, it's 365 days in a year, and next month is a year. And again, I'm not going after you. I wish I had a tape recorder so you could say, here's what Friedmeier said, holy shit. You know, I mean, this is where we're at, so.
So Lucas, to answer that question, we feel like we want this escalated, that this has been a year that we still don't have an answer, so. How do we escalate it, or is this permit imminent, you know?
So, yeah, I am getting very close. And I hate to, because I have overpromised and underdelivered in the past, because yeah, I felt like, I was closer than I had been, at that time. So I hesitate to say by, this date, you will have a permit in hand. I am confident that we are moving towards that final permit decision in the near future, so.
So two things, one, Caroline gets a ton of pressure from us. And so
That's
she's.
why I made you come today, I was tired of it,
You know,
right?
she does.
Yeah.
And our engineers do, I mean, they reach out to get an answer and we don't get an answer, and so then we go back after her again. You know, we're talking 8 o'clock at night about this, that's not appropriate, she needs to be home with her kids, you know, so. There's that part, right? And if you can share with us, what is I'm assuming that you are the technician, you're the one that's designing this permit, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, where does it go?
So under my delegation order, so Minnesota rules reference back to the commissioner.
Yep.
And so any action of the DNR is referencing back to the commissioner. I have a delegation order that allows me to issue permits on the commissioner's behalf. And so this permit is one that, to everything that I've heard from our internal conversations, is one that I will be issuing. You know, but because of the mitigation components, because of coordinating with threatened and endangered species, I am working through a much more involved review process with others higher up within the agency on that, in order to get the final support for issuing the permit.
So can I just say something? So I used to work for MinDOT, so I was the bridge engineer for District 6, Southeast Minnesota.
Mhm.
So one of my main jobs was working on the Dresbach Bridge, I-90
Okay,
bridge.
yep.
So I did the preliminary engineering for that bridge. And we had all kinds of issues. We had to put in new piers and a bunch of other things. But it took us 2 years for that bridge, which was half a mile long.
A major interstate bridge.
Yeah. And it only took 2 years to get the preliminary, the DNR approval on it. We had to move muscles. We hired Mike Smith, Mike Davis out here on County Road 81. He and his team came and dove the place, identified the muscles, relocated the muscles. That was all done within that 2 year period. We're at 2 years now here on this little project. I'm just amazed that it's taking this long.
I think, didn't you say that you were authorized to issue this permit? Why do you need permission from your superiors if you have the authority to issue this permit?
So honestly, it's a comfort level. You know, making sure that because it does cross into, you know, multiple programs, that there is that
What
support.
we just said that with the mitigation issue is pretty much, we've decided what that's gonna be, and that seemed like that was the last issue, so what's
Yeah.
the holdup essentially?
And, you know, to some extent, it's, you know, and I've shared this with Carolyn, is, you know, just the extent of documentation, you know, that I'm undertaking with the project.
Our EAW was 650 pages long, and it didn't get read up there. Cause they asked the same freaking questions, 3 reviews in a row. So where are we at? You know, I mean, fine, it can be 600 pages long, but is it this is a boilerplate document or what?
No, I wish it was. 'Cause
Yeah.
Boilerplate would have been
Yeah, you know, I
issued by now,
mean,
so.
we gotta do this, we gotta do this together, right?
I have a question too. What are the chances we're not getting the permit?
I don't think that's in the cards at all.
So we're
So-
getting the permit, so it's just a matter of
I-
getting. it.
I
What
can't-
are the
And
chances
it's
of
on-
Pretty decision.
not coming in until January of 2026?
You know, we get done with this meeting, she's gotta respond to the feds,
Yeah.
you know, to the feds, to Murad. She's gotta respond to the state for our money and to the Army Corps, and we've gotta try to help out our operators. And we can't keep saying we don't know.
So we have to help you become comfortable. What can we do to do that?
I don't believe there's anything that I'm needing from the community at this time, from the Port Authority. It's,
We kinda ticked the box on the muscles, right?
yes,
Okay, so that's part's over there. So now we've just got the dredge permit. Essentially. Right,
and we've got a mitigation plan, we have, you know. Yeah, we have all the review. I'm
Okay.
just doing the documentation of the analysis, to support that,
okay.
and then get
Can't
that.
use
fun-
our analysis,
Oh, it's
our
being,
650 pages.
oh, that's being
analysis?
referenced
Okay.
extensively,
Oh, good.
yes.
Good, I'm glad you're using it.
Yeah, and I have read,
It's thank you.
I have read through,
That costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars.
and I've read through, I would say, all but probably a page or two of that.
Points, right?
There's a couple things where it's like, okay, that's,
That's
I can skip over, but yeah, I have, there's just an inordinate amount of information on this project.
And
Yeah,
did I hear you correctly? You said it normally takes about 150 days and we're at like 330 days?
yes,
So over double the time. So
yeah,
that,
and part of that is, it had took quite a while to get to, an acceptable.
It's a surprise that by law, there's no time limit on how long
time is
it
up, yes.
takes to issue this public waters permit.
But we are like. We are bound by law on times.
Yeah.
Yep,
But
and-
as a municipality, I mean, we are bound. You put a building permit in and we don't respond to it,
You can-
it's yours. You know what I mean? And so I mean.
I
Yeah,
don't think this timeframe would bode well for, yeah.
Can you give us a time frame when you think it be done?
Well, you could do it tomorrow. There's the authority. Yeah.
I hesitate to do this, but when is do you have a meeting next month? What's the date on that?
Ooh, we're gonna get an answer.
third Tuesday of the month.
16.
December 16th.
Right in time for Christmas.
Yeah.
Well,
Give us a
we
Christmas
appreciate
present.
that.
Don't expect it wrapped in a bow, please.
Serious?
But yeah,
I appreciate that.
We all would, we all would.
And I think it speaks that he came today.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew what he was getting into.
I know.
I fully,
I think you were both, that both the best.
no, it's just the best, and it's a little warm. So,
All right,
Alright,
thank you.
okay. Any one of us, and obviously you have connections with respect to Caroline, to our engineers, whatever you need, our operators, whatever you need additional information. Or
Yeah, I was gonna say, Chuck or Sean, did you have questions for Lucas beyond what we stated today?
Well, kind of tough. I don't know what to say. I mean, we're fully prepared to, and Sean, if you disagree, please do. But we talk twice a day, every day, so I don't think he's gonna. We're fully prepared to pull off that mitigation. It's not that difficult to do for us because we're going to have the equipment here anyway to unload the islands. Pulling over there and taking care of that thing up by Reeds. Once we get it defined a little bit better, we'll have a better idea what it's going to amount to. But it sounds like it's not a terribly time-consuming thing to do. So we're sitting on our chair, can't do anything. The mussels, they've been identified. We know where they are. We were hoping we could get in there before the water temperature dropped below 40 degrees and get them relocated, but it doesn't appear that's going to happen. So we got to wait till spring. In the meantime, as I think the chair mentioned, I'm real concerned about our customer, the Corps. We were supposed to start this in 2023, and they have so far bypassed 240,000 cubic yards of sand coming off those islands. And at some point, there's nothing they can do. They've got to do something else, and I don't know what it's going to be. And that's going to just, create a real issue for us. But again, Sean, if you got anything to add, please do. But we're frustrated, really frustrated, because we're not getting anywhere. And there's been a lot of, I don't know if, I guess, Nukis weren't here when they did the consent agenda, but the Port Authority spent over $1 million to date on engineering and environmental work. A good part of that was environmental. We have our Corps permit. We have our MARAD, NEPA approval of our EAW there. And So here we're sitting waiting for this thing, and it's terribly frustrating for us.
Lucas, thank you.
I can appreciate that.
Chuck, let me add to that there, and I don't know if the city, our Wabasha Port Authority and our DNR counterparts are aware, but the Corps is continuing to buy up properties in Wabasha County as a contingency plan because we're not able to deliver.
Yeah, and I've been involved in review of some of those parcels. So,
Okay, we're gonna send all of our positive vibes with you.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be here. Bells up.
60.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lucas, much appreciated.
Lucas, thank you for joining us on behalf of the port operators. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care home.
Good job.
Yes.
Very good. You did your homework well.
Like, Jesus, we've been at this how long?
Oh, I know, but it's just the pressure that we're all gonna get if this thing fails.
Can you imagine?
We
Oh
owe
my
the city,
God.
we owe everybody, it's mind boggling.
They said the F word.
It's all connected. We
Did I?
can get these fees, so we can get the money, so we can, just all
They
connected.
said fail.
Fail,
That's the
Mr.
F.
Chairman, can I add something I didn't really want to say when Lucas was
yeah.
here? Caroline knows this, I'm sure, and I think you do too, and the rest of the board may very well as well. The state law says 150 days for them to make their decision. And I think the chair made a good analogy with a building permit. And the question is, should somebody call them on that? And would that change anything? Or should we be contacting the commissioner or have our legislative delegation contact the commissioner? I don't know if that would make things worse or better. And I thought,
Yeah.
Chuck, we were, up to be great. Be open to us. We were, at the state capitol, last spring or last fall, I don't remember anymore. And we were offered that opportunity to become our Senate representative. And at that point, we felt that would become almost adversarial. And we just continued to want to believe that by having open dialogue, we were gonna get more done.
But can I add something to
Yeah.
this topic? So just talking about timeline to getting the islands unloaded. So number one, an issue is that right now on the mussels, they are saying that if it's a normal spring, hopefully they can move the mussels next spring, but they really won't know till we know the weather. If not next spring, then the soonest they'll be able to move the mussels is July, and we can't dredge out there until the mussels are moved. So then at that point, we were considering, well, we might as well have to just pay like $180,000 fine to get the project going. The other thing
Where's that?
is
Fine.
city, the port,
Support.
we don't have, yeah.
We're finding ourselves 180,000.
No, we're
No,
paying the fine.
the DNR is
The
gonna
DNR
fine
is
us if we can't
charging
move
it.
those mussels. But again, we couldn't move them last summer because we didn't have the permit. I quite honestly, looking back, just wish we would have gone ahead and moved them, but we never had the permit. We still don't have the permit telling us we're supposed to move them. The other thing that AMI is recommending is that we combine the dredge contract with the construction contract, but that we time them differently, because in one theory, we're gonna, dredge it out, and then maybe they're gonna find a way to do it an island unload this summer while we actually wait to build it. But then in other scenarios, you need a road then, because that was part of what our work was gonna be, was building the road. And so it's all very complicated, and it all comes down to, ideally, it all needs to just get done next year. So I even have, beyond the DNR permit, just the update, and this is later from Brian Malm, is that they're gonna bid this out in March. There's still some back and forth going on with AMI and the design, and they're gonna bid out the whole thing in March. Then we'll get contractors and bidders and hopefully know who we're working with, and then we're gonna just have to see how it can all get done, and then this winter, and I can follow up on that. They are gonna clear trees over the winter, and that can occur, it has to occur before March.
Yeah.
So that's where it's at. But and then Chuck and Sean, I guess. In my head, we're hoping for a fall island unload and construction in the summer. Is that viable for you guys, or?
Well, here's the problem we have. The pricing that has gone into the rate that we have provided the Corps and they've agreed to in terms of so much per yard is based on a certain volume, 120,000 cubic yards. Anytime we would short ourselves from that, our fixed costs, which are going to remain the same because the equipment's there. You just can't send them home the next day if you run out of season. It's going to affect the cost of doing it. And we really don't want to have that happen. Now, we could be working, theoretically, we could be working up until almost Christmas or beyond if we have good weather, because that channel essentially stays open. Though you natives have seen that channel pretty well open most winters until it gets below zero for a period of time. I think, and again, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong here. If we don't get cracking out there by August, we're going to have a tough time finishing unless we start pushing the weather at the end, because we're going to need 120 days to pull off that 120,000 cubic yards total. We can, the actual dredging will go quicker than that, but we've got to bring in the equipment and so on. We don't dare sign anything on equipment until we know what we got. Otherwise, it's going to sit there with the clock running. I'm going to New Orleans first week of December, and I'll be meeting with equipment providers down there at that point. And I've done that once already, and then let them coast for 2 years, basically. I'll do it again in December. Hopefully, I can say, hey, look, we're going to be going by X date. But obviously, by now, we're not going to know that. By then, we're not going to know that date. And we could run into a situation as well where, everybody wants the same equipment about the same time, and that's the opening of the river. And we may end up in a situation where we can't even get it if we wait too long. So it's a real dilemma on our part. But again, I'm really concerned if we would not start dredging before August to make that 120,000 yards, unless we get real lucky with the weather. One other thing, Sean and I talked to Senator Miller, about a month ago when he was touring here, and he then offered also to talk to the commissioner. And I told him, no, I don't think we ought to do that unless the Port Authority Board says we should do it, because it's a risk. And it could teeter things the wrong way on us. I don't know how much influence his staff or her staff has on her, but with political appointees like that, I'm guessing that it's pretty significant. I really kind of feel bad for Lucas. He's kind of sitting in the middle on this thing, and you can tell he's not real happy with it. But anyway, Sean, anything else?
I'm authorized to make the decision on my own.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I do it.
But he ain't going to do it. He's not going to do it. It's called job security. If he gets an angry discussion internally on DNR and upsets apple carts, he might find himself unemployed. That's
Exactly.
So we're not. It feels like we're always behind the 8 ball. I think what we need to do is meet with Brian Mullen, the engineer on the project, and say they need to be ready to use that area for their island unload operation by August. What does that look like in terms of the timing of everything else? And our old committee used to, I don't know, it's kind of hard. That could just be me and Chuck and Sean with Brian, or somebody else can join, but I'll talk to him. I think
Well,
that's, yeah.
You said we can dredge in March at the earliest.
No, we can move.
Move muscles.
but
The temperature thing is what it is, and the high water thing and everything else.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Water-
So,
we have to have,
water
we have to
temperature.
have at least 40 degrees of water temperature before we can start moving them.
yeah,
And, I did
That's
track
what-
that. I've got it tracked. I don't have it in front of me, but usually by the earliest is the first part of March, and the latest has been the first part of April to get 40-degree water in pool 4, which is us.
yeah,
Who knows?
all right.
Now, another thing we thought about, and Caroline knows aware of this, and so does I think Brian. And again, we can talk about it, I guess. Is there another way of doing the unload on a temporary basis without the dredging? And
Well,
the answer is maybe.
couldn't find anything.
You know, I thought the issue, Chuck, is that we needed the channel to be dredged deep enough to bring in a laden barge. Otherwise, it wasn't worth it, right?
Yeah,
I mean-
but
So-
and
so you had-
here's what we could do. And I hesitate to advocate this publicly, and I'm doing it right now, because the DNR could say, well, why don't you do that forever then? Don't bother to do the channel. You don't even need a dock.
Yeah.
No,
And I'm going to stand back on that one, because I've seen it done other ways, but it's not easy and it's expensive.
well, I think, we just really lean in come the 17th of December or whatever day that is. And
yeah, and I think maybe we can make a phone call at the end of the month.
Yeah.
After Thanksgiving. And say, how you coming? You promised the 16th, how you doing?
Yeah, I could do that.
yeah, just give us a
So,
report.
and I
because-
think we check in on the timing of everything. I'll continue to do that with Brian and just
Yep.
say, here's the target and so. Okay,
Okay,
would you, or would it be? Maybe the other useful thing is we just can have Brian Malm attend the next meeting and give us an update about. What the
be
schedule is.
ready,
moving
have AMI,
forward.
everybody here, we just.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right,
Hey, Sean, on another note, so we're paying you $9,600 to store the Septoberfest in your building. That would be a nice write-off for you.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will talk to the chamber here.
good.
they're here, yes,
The
thank
Coners
you.
have been so good to Wabash over the years.
So good,
It's amazing.
yeah.
It's amazing, actually, it is, Sean, it is amazing, and I recognize what the Coners have done,
What would we do without them?
yeah, in the story. I know a lot of what
Sean,
they don't
since we're on the
want.
topic, can you give the board an update on how the winter hall operations are going?
Well, before I do that, I just want to say we love the community of Wabasha, and we're going to continue to stay the partner throughout the years here. So, just an update here. We got fourth generation Coners coming into the company here, so we're for the long haul.
All right,
Winter haul, we're sitting at about 15,000 cubic yards per week. And we plan on maintaining that. I should hope to have a survey done. I talked to Brian Woodley here, and I'll have to call him back here, but probably 4 weeks into this here, we'll get a survey done. And we're, like I say, we're sitting about that 15,000 cubic yards per year, or per week, sorry.
And then the other thing that we learned is that why we need to get the island unload is that they haven't gotten that pipe to work yet. So they really can't guarantee us any more truck hauling next year or income from that until they get the pipe working and refilling that pit.
yeah,
Well, per the memorandum of agreement, there isn't as guaranteed 135,000 per year.
I gotta ask that. I mean, I said, well, same kind of answers we got from Lucas. In a best case scenario, that pipe should be working by next year, but they're not
But
gonna.
you're just not really comfortable giving us a date.
I know, they weren't willing to guarantee it, I guess, so.
Do you mind if I?
Well, Sean, yeah, they're out of room there after this haul, so. I guess they need to get that pipe working and refilling that pit. So I'd assume it definitely would occur at some point next year, but I guess it's more the timing of it.
We're continuing conversations with Eric, so I will stay in touch with him to find out where they're at with that. I know they were waiting for a pump and stuff there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Very good.
Sean, David Woodley here, are you there yet?
Yep.
The next time you're in Wabash, I'd like to meet with you, just get a hold of me, at your convenience.
That's hopefully he wants a beer.
Yeah, lunch, I'll buy.
Certainly, Mr. Woodley, will do.
Thank you.
Okay, let's,
That's why
That's-
that's fine.
yeah, let's move
I'm
on.
not buying it.
See, you blew it. It's 7 o'clock.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Alright,
Okay. Chamber, so facade improvement program update.
Yeah, just a quick update on the facade improvement program, on the consent agenda, you approved the final disbursement. So that's 5 projects totaling, 18,867 invested by the port. Estimated total value of those projects is about $46,700, so, big impact on 5 businesses in town. So,
and so when I had time, my goal is to do another press release like we did for the HVAC. So I got a nice picture the other day, and so we'll put that on Facebook, website, social media. Release it to the thing, just talking about this project.
Fantastic.
yeah, we got quotes and pictures, everyone's really thankful for the
Oh,
opportunity.
okay, yeah, I just gotta get those in there.
Yeah, there's.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
So yeah, everyone was very thankful for our work on,
Revolving loan fund guidelines.
yeah.
Yeah, the main thing for action is what interest rate would you like to use for the year? So if we use what our current guidelines would say, I think it would be at 5% according to this, but Kathy's recommending 3. At one point, we used 0% to get
No.
people using it.
We've
So
got enough interest we can.
what do you guys wanna do for an interest rate on our loan? Kathy's recommending 3%.
I
Go
agree.
lower.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
Alright.
3%'s a great rate.
You wanna make that a motion or?
I'll make a motion that we change our interest rate to 3% for the year.
Got a first, got a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye, post same sign. Okay.
Oh
I
boy,
gotta
this
go back.
one's long, okay. Highway 60 reroute feedback for future consideration, okay. So just big picture, at Watch, they looked at the designs and I took down my big poster. But basically, they were concerned, okay, if people build here, where's gonna be the access points on Highway 60? And the response from the engineers was, they don't recommend building in the access point to Highway 60 until you know what the developers want, because the risk would be, we build a road that goes to nowhere. But what they did say is it's gonna be right in and right out because of the huge medians that are there. Jay Jusen has some concerns in terms of knowing that the roadway is gonna have to be built up even on Hiawatha to be out of the floodplain. How is that gonna connect in with the elevations of the grocery store parking lot? And they are just not that far along, but we toured La Crosse, me, Kathy, John, and Emily. And saw that you could have something raised up and it doesn't look weird, or so I'm just assuming they'll just find ways to connect in.
Yeah, that parking lot slopes down, so.
Yeah.
You could raise the road without too much impact.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you think
Probably
about it,
have to raise it 6 inches, maybe a foot.
I was gonna say, because remember we raised that road in
Yeah,
03
yeah, it
for the
was
flood,
01.
01? I mean, it was only about 6 or 8 inch lift on it, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not much.
the
and it
other
didn't even get to the top of that.
Yeah, it didn't even get there, so.
questions that right now there's a bicycle trail along the new highway instead of along Bridge Avenue. And then they are recommending to put a bike trail on Highway 60 and connect it in, cause then it can be paid for by the project. If we put it way over at Bridge Avenue, we don't have any money to fund that right now. I thought we had a good meeting with our legislatures on the bus tour, but it felt fast and kind of felt like
Yeah, it's all
lukewarm.
fast.
But what we found is now the road is completely paid. We just need money for utility and stormwater, so we're gonna be able to lower our asses here. So I think the only action required is that, we learned that the MPCA can fund community engagement for reuse plan. And it would be authorizing Kathy to apply for a grant through MPCA. She's already gonna apply for, our mitigation plan on the contamination. But this would be for community, engagement. We think that and this would be. I think we know we want development there. I think one of the unknown questions is, do we reserve any part of that for future public access? Or are we gonna develop the whole thing? We have a plan that people made 7 years ago about a vision. But we just it might be nice to bring in a consultant and do more community engagement on it, now we know where the contamination is. And the other thing is, we found the outlines of the contamination I know everyone at council saw it because it was we went over it was Jill on the line? Did she actually present that?
We've seen it, I mean,
Or have you guys seen where the garbage is, like Dave and Craig and Robin?
Well, I mean, I know where the dump was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, well,
It's next to Hiawatha, right?
yeah, we've got an outlines of where the cleanup needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's right, so this is Hiawatha, oh, you can't see me, okay, one second. You guys can't see my screen on the TV. I'll cast it. Stop, cast screen, okay. Alright, and then people on Zoom, is anyone on Zoom? Yes, there you go, I'll share it here. Alright, so this is Hiawatha here. And this is the outlines of the contamination, and they did not test over here. So where the road, what they're gonna do is try to get our federal money to pay for as much of the cleanup as possible. But the kind of bummer is, it probably won't be able to clean up all of this. And that will be left, that would be where we need a partner with the future person that's gonna develop there to get the land cleaned up before they purchase it. The other good news is, like, it kind of seems like the area that has less contamination, this corner of Fourth Grant and Allegheny and maybe a little bit over here and over here is ripe to maybe, that's where the development first happens, that doesn't need all the cleanup as this corner does. And then I also wondered, is this where we do the regional stormwater pond or leave this as park area, etc.? And we don't even that's the part we leave for public use or something like that, so.
Do we need a regional stormwater pond when we got their slough right there?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
so yeah, you've gotta have, I know, but you've gotta have, it's got a pond before it can settle out, it's gotta silt out, I know. But that's why the slough is the way it is,
Yeah,
quote unquote.
yeah.
There's some kind of, like, we said it was a vault system in La Crosse, which is kind of an interesting, it was all done underground. It's kind of a cool deal, and it
And
wasn't because everything's expensive, but it
So they
wasn't
didn't
like.
find any harmful, you know, that it's all harmful to some extent, but nothing really bad in the.
So they found PFAS, they found some petroleum, but a lot of it is rubble, so it's not, the contamination is such that it's unstable soil to build on. And that's more the bigger deal than the chemical, the soil remediation for chemical, right? Am I doing that? Yeah, so,
You know, it was explained, it could still be problematic if someone wanna put a building on top of all this rubble.
Yeah,
because
so
then
it's just
Not
not there.
that deep, because look at the ball field and you look where there today, most of it's settled out. It was only 6 feet deep and they
Exactly,
pushed them
yeah.
and burn it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So amount of cubic yards, whatever they have to take out. The thing is, where do you go with it? It's not really contamination. I've dug in the old one. It's pure dust,
Yeah,
except for the
yeah.
glass. And
It was our garbage, our weekly garbage that got burnt, that's what it was.
Yep, it was
every
very,
Friday. they
Yeah,
burn
we just burnt it on Fridays.
it, ash. But we're making it easy, but for them, it make it difficult,
Yeah.
like the DNR.
yeah, and I think a lot of these were 2 to 7 feet tops.
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
So,
2 feet of cover. Of
When I
grass.
was a kid, so 50 years. I don't know when they quit doing it. When did they quit doing the dough?
Was in the
70s,
early, in the 70s, they were just going to football games, be still burning.
Yeah,
When I was-
yeah.
At night, the smoke would cover the whole town.
Springfield Tire Fire.
That's
So-
50.
So we need a motion.
And
I'm sorry.
I will just say, they are struggling through multiple bureaucratic hurdles as well as engineering firm, and we stay on top of it, but. There could be kind of underground burials by Prospect Avenue, which we tie into, it's not in the project, but.
Burial
so
grounds.
just where Native Americans know that there
Sure.
were things over there, and so. I will say this one's not yet out of the water too, and we're also under a timeline to get the environmental review done by a certain time, so. I think they're doing a good job staying on top of it without us needing to get super involved. But yeah, just I'll keep you guys posted on the project, and we just wanna authorize Kathy to apply for a grant for community engagement.
Yes.
Got it. We need to make.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, do a motion in a second. Anybody?
I'll make it.
Got one? Got a second? 2? All in favor?
Aye.
Post same sign.
Okay.
Okay, where are we at? Slow. Back, approve qualification economic development specialists. Do people get a chance to review this?
I looked at it a little bit.
So okay, I'll just walk you through it. So we have a summary. The Wabasha Port Authority is requesting qualifications to fill an economic development professional. The position will be 8 to 16 hours per week. Our main goals would be a future port for hauling sand. The 50-unit apartment building doesn't need a lot of work, but it's happening. Administration of an infill housing program. This is the big one. Planning for the reuse of 14 acres of infill city-owned property for multi-purpose cleanup.
Where is that?
That's the bullet up there on the second page.
Where is the fourth?
Oh, the athletic field
Oh.
is 14 acres.
I thought it was 11, whatever. Done.
Okay, we go, I think this includes the mosquito field.
Oh,
Plus mosquito field. And administrating that revolving loan program, the continuous development of childcare options, and then strategic goals around housing. We're requesting that they have knowledge to do development, grant administration, business development. Leadership for local housing committee, maybe assist the local manufactured home park. Plan and report to Port Authority, and then timely application of community development grants. And it says hiring is approved for a part-time, hybrid, or fully in-person capacity. I think hybrid has worked for us, or fully in person. I would definitely not say, could it be fully remote? I don't think that would work.
no.
Want to use the weight, they need to collaborate with organization, and then it says. We could take application from agencies with qualified staff or independent contractors. So we will send this out to CETA. Like I said, I've been advocating, maybe we partner with Lake City, so I'd like
Yeah.
to send it to them. And then we said, we'll see what we get. Then Kathy had some ideas of where to post it for her field. And then we could put it on the website, Facebook. I don't know about Facebook though, cause.
No,
Yeah. Apply by December 17th, so. That puts us really after our meetings, so the goal was. wow, right before Christmas, we'd be doing this. I think Kathy was trying to get the timing and move before she left,
Right.
but if we don't hit that December 16th meeting,
She'll have.
we probably could push it out to mid-January instead of, or do we wanna try to get applications before Christmas?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we'll move those dates. And then this is a typo, the need date for project completion is date. That's like that's old language, I see a typo, so I'll get rid of that. And then evaluation, it says relevant past performance, samples of work. For the cost part of it, I think, we said cover letter, resumes, references, hourly wage expectations. I think cost is like, we have our budget, but I think it's gonna be just like communication, self-starter, work as a team.
Yep.
Those kind of things. Anyone else have an evaluation factor they wanna add? Past experience,
I think you're only gonna,
so,
we get too in the weeds and that makes it.
yeah. Okay, so I'll push back the date, but. In my notes, I recommended that John and Emily serve, because they've been part of kind of some of this. And I think we could take. One or two other people. Or it could just be John, Emily, me and Tyler too, so. Any other takers interested in hiring for the next person? Okay. Conversation, I got you.
I'm going through that at the Eagle Center now. Just so you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're good?
He won't even be here. He'll be.
Oh, you'll be around, okay. All right, I think John and Emily and Tyler and I.
That's a good group.
Cause I won't be going to Florida for 3 months. Oh, sorry,
Just for,
this time. He's gonna be back in time, he's gonna go for a cruise or something.
All right, so we're just looking for approval with this and then, and just confirming the committee is John and Emily.
Entertain a motion to approve,
so move.
got a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this? I just, I'll go back to this, Kathy is a breath of fresh air, she. Again, just
She's amazing.
amazing, I can't get over it. Approve,
Aye.
post same sign, thank you. Next,
So the director's report is just in the updates.
Yep.
And then for the administrator's report, I don't really have anything, I forgot to do that, I put it in the updates. National Eagle Center. And
We've offered a job, we've offered the position to, that we are waiting for him to accept it. We're praying, I'm not feeling 100% convinced he will, because he's coming from a completely different situation, but he comes with a ton of experience, he would be amazing. But he had 2 other interviews that he had committed to, one last week and one this week, so he was gonna let us know by the end of this week if he's going to accept the position or work with it.
and obviously he would be. Moving here,
Yeah, well, maybe to Rochester.
okay,
You
yeah,
know, he might not choose Wabasha right away, he's coming from like Indianapolis,
okay,
so it'd be a big culture shock,
yeah,
right?
right,
Yeah.
well, good luck.
Yeah, we're really hopeful.
And I
What's
read
the
somewhere,
Attendance been this year, what's the number?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, it's been, since the street has been fixed, we're seeing up, okay? That hit us hard, it was really tough to get to
It'd
the
be
Eagle
nice to know
Center.
what the number was, I mean, are they providing,
Oh, they have
Are
them,
they-
yeah,
are
oh,
they
yeah.
providing reports to you like they're supposed to?
one thing is like. Well, like Courtney and Main Street provided. I did wanna ask kind of for a different format of the budget, which is more like. Year to date, those things, so I need to follow up. So, without an executive director, I think it's been a
They're all
challenge,
doing
but.
extra jobs.
In that vein, I think Jeff, what are you interested in seeing, like historical visitor data?
Yeah.
And then the
I would just
budget
like to
data.
see them
I
try to
I think
add
if we use
zero
the
Yes, they have
same
that. They have
format as we asked Main Street in the chamber, even though we don't contribute, we do own all their buildings.
that. Yeah,
So we could do
well, and
that.
they do have a clear understanding that they owe that here, that's fine, that isn't.
yeah, that's not a thing, right?
Yeah, no, and
Never
you know,
was.
Kirk Lineweaver is now our finance guy,
Finance guy.
and of course, it's all volunteer, but he's willing to share whatever he has.
So are you actualizing that 4 million? Did I read that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's, that's a big step. So it's a big
Plans are
deal.
done.
I have an update on that, cause I
Oh.
actually, me and Emily participate in the new renovation.
Which is nice.
So the
You have to
update,
Approve that, so does the city have to approve those plans?
we're like, we received the funds, so would you like us to approve the plans?
No, I'm just asking you if
Okay.
we're required to, cause I think with all the other stuff, the city council had to vote.
Well, actually, it's here.
Yeah, we're heavily involved. I don't think it would hurt that we approve plans, but Emily and I are involved. And essentially, they are trying to, they have $4 million, they don't have the ability to fundraise more, and it's, if you take out all the architect, legal, et cetera, it's really a $10 million project. So what they're looking at is just renovating those buildings to add new gallery space for the Preston, the Eagle, their collection of artwork.
An auditorium.
And make some improvements to the auditorium. It'll look similar, but different.
But I mean, yeah.
And then the biggest concern of staff was those were old Main Street buildings with non-functioning mechanical systems that they don't have money to fix. So some maybe things that you just don't see or appreciate. And the other thing that was, they need to add an elevator to activate the second floor and to have it open, so the elevator is pretty expensive too. So essentially, it'll probably be an improved auditorium. And then now you'll be able to access the second floor space of buildings to see the gallery space. And then it will allow, if they wanna do expansion further into the buildings, they can. Yeah, so.
All buildings being connected upstairs too.
That would be, the current thing to do is, we don't have the money to like renovate all of those second floors, but could we punch out into those spaces so that they could be used in the future? And I have a copy of the PowerPoint I could share, but I feel good that that's moving forward, so. Yeah,
Better than the alternative, which is losing it.
Correct, what a waste that would be.
Okay.
any news from board members? Yeah, we're good.
We got nothing. Jeff, are you leaving?
Yeah, I leave.
When?
Yeah, November 20th.
Okay,
Okay.
so December, January, you won't be,
I'll be zooming.
Zoom, you'll zoom in.
I zoom in,
okay,
you
you're
call
coming.
my meetings.
And we don't need to publish where he's at anymore, do we?
Nope,
Oh, you don't? That's
I
No.
don't think so, I think they changed that law.
We just need to do roll call.
okay.
Okay. All right, anything else? Revolving loan updates, anything?
I did have an administrator's update.
Okay,
I'm not gonna put everyone to sleep with the key points from the housing thing. But I am gonna just say this one thing is that I listened to a great presentation that I continue to encourage us to think about housing as an economic development tool, and he put numbers, but if we build a house in Wabasha and somebody new moves in or a new home opens up, just one home or a 50-unit apartment building has huge economic
Yes, it
impact.
does.
Cause you have additional people shopping in your community, paying taxes in your community, and that was, and then what I also understood is. You know, the narrative, and we hear it all the time, like Wabasha's population isn't growing. Well, we've got less people living in a 4-bedroom home, like John always points to his neighbor, she's a single lady. Taking up a 4-bedroom home, and at one point she probably had 6 kids living there.
Right.
So we can continue to grow on a limited basis if we can add more density or more housing, which we knew it, but it was good for me to hear it. Cause we get all the time like, why is Wabasha doing anything? We're not growing. And it's like, well, we're not growing.
Yeah,
because
what
we
comes
need
first?
housing,
What comes first?
you know? So, and then just a lot, they statistically, one thing I thought was cool would be like a newcomer interview. Where maybe the port just interviews newcomers to Wabasha. Did you feel welcome? Are you connected? Why did you move here? And I thought that would be cool, in like a newcomer panel and just interview people. But like 13% of people are moving to rural Minnesota because of a telework. But like maybe 25% are moving to be closer to a family member. And so that can be a big factor. It's not, maybe it's like 37% move for a job, but that's not the only reason people move to
A
Wabasha.
lot move to escape bigger cities.
Yeah, and, oh yeah, safety, security, schools are,
Mhm.
Robin, you probably know the newcomer narrative.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a cool project for our next.
I agree.
Person to do a newcomer to Wabasha project.
That'd be kind of
You know.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be.
So, on the apartments, we have a demo permit, there's asbestos in the building, they're figuring that out. And you guys, oh, and I reached out to Richard Connor's estate, we didn't obtain funding to purchase that land on Market Street. But I am reaching out, I did just email his estate to say, doesn't matter, are you interested in selling us or not? We just need an answer, yes or no. Cause if you're not interested, we wanna list that property for sale, so she's gonna get back to me. And I'll just breeze through the rest of these, cause I know we wanna get out of here. There's a Smith social media training. Sempra is hiring a new executive director, and I was actually a reference for one of them. I used to work with him in La Crosse, actually. Very good. They have 3 finalists. So I think whoever the new Sempra executive director is, it'd be nice to connect with them right away, just say, how can we collaborate on housing? And then Kathy just wanted to let you know that someone is thinking about opening a consignment shop and needs to get her a bunch of different paperwork. And we don't have more information on our revolving loan because USDA staff are catching up after being
Is
frozen.
that Sadie's consignment shop?
I think so.
I thought that was a joke for. This isn't for real, this is just an example, right?
It's real.
That's real.
So do we need to? Anything with the lien release, the UCC?
No.
No, we just did it.
No, we just
Yeah.
have to contact Chad, let him know we're doing. it.
Okay, so that's it,
No,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
no more.
Okay,
Is that it? Are we?
yeah, there's just some social media training if anyone wants to learn about that, but
Kind of do, but all right.
I think that's it for the updates in the agenda, so.
I'd like to commend Robin for bringing up the barn thing with the Coners. Because that'll solve Oktoberfest if we get rid of the $96.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
That'll
we thought.
take care of it.
Solve our own problem.
That's why I arranged, one of you at that meeting we come to. I mean, I think it'd be easy to. How much do we pay for the brush dump to Corners to have it out there?
Quite a bit.
Well, but
Chunk of
that's a nice chunk of change they're getting from the city.
Yeah.
Right, they can
I
give
think
us-
he's already inclined to doing this. One other thing I wanna bring up is that junkyard across from Riverview Cemetery,
Yeah.
which I'm
Yes.
studying. I've discovered by Beacon kind of looking, that, most of the junk that he's accumulated is on Coners property. I checked with Brian, I said, what's the survey? He's verified this, and if you just wanna take a quick peek,
Yeah.
most of all the junk.
And they keep giving me such a hard time.
There's all the junk you don't see, that's the Coners department. And he's gonna hear about it, it's in the woods,
Yeah.
you can see it from.
It's terrible.
That's-
You haven't seen this problem,
I am
Well, I
not
see it
taking
driving
up
by.
another nuisance order.
that's Coners
until
property where all the junk is.
I got
So why are they so
Goes-
Well,
lenient?
he doesn't know,
Oh.
it's in the woods behind the
It's
beach.
bad.
Oh,
I don't want to see it.
There's all the junk from County Road 24 that he brought to
And
Wabasha.
that's not his property.
No, this is Coners Beanfield, it's all on. Coners.
Lance Spinner, his
Junk.
property looks like crap.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
awful.
He's got a
There's
huge.
refrigerators out
It is
there,
not-
but the weeds,
Constantly
the
blocked.
weeds are 6 feet tall.
It's
Oh.
not okay. Why doesn't the city enforce
Well,
it?
you're gonna get a complaint from the Riverview Cemetery and Robbie,
It-
or we'll
it kinda-
formally
It
complain.
kind of came down
Yeah.
to. Like, we were gonna have to go to court over it, and it's always
Well, we'll see what Sean does.
So like in
You-
Rochester, if somebody's grass gets too long, the city goes in and mows it.
about Lance Spinner now.
Nope.
Oh, Lance junkyard. Well, I would,
what I would say on that is if you can get me something in writing.
that's what I.
And then get other people routed, if you wanna get me something in writing on that, then I have enough to say to council, hey, we're getting complaints.
Yeah.
and
I
let's
wanna see
do
what Sean
something.
does, because I don't want him to move all that onto his property.
Oh, my God.
That's where all the junk is, the rats and whatnot. Anyway, I'm got it off my chest.
Okay, are we good?
Mhm.
Motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
Get a second?